My name is Alara Voss, and I'm 31 years old. If you asked me a month ago, I would have told you I was standing at the edge of my happiest chapter successful business, the man of my dreams, and the kind of wedding people double tap on Instagram. Now, well, let's just say things look very different. I own a small but thriving tech consulting firm. Not yachts and private jets money, but I live comfortably and built everything myself from the ground up. That mattered to me because when you've bled for every dollar, you don't take security lightly. Brandon, my fiancé, is 28. He's charming, photogenic, and works as a lifestyle influencer. Around 40,000 followers. Adore his curated breakfasts and gentleman's wardrobe reels. He makes a little from sponsorships, maybe $30K a year, which isn't nothing, but compared to my business, it felt fragile, like a bubble that could burst at any time. When Brandon proposed last year, I said yes without hesitation. For 3 years, I believed he loved me. For me, not the numbers in my account. But the moment the ring slid on my finger, something changed. He went into full wedding overdrive. Not just a wedding, the wedding. His dream wedding. A historic estate that looked like it belonged in a period drama. Catering that could fund a small startup. Flowers more expensive than some people's cars. A $12,000 tuxedo for himself. Yes, tuxedo, not my dress. And an $85,000 overall bill that landed squarely in my lap. At first, I played along. I thought, he's excited. I love him. I can afford it. Why not? But there's a fine line between making someone happy and letting them empty you. The first crack appeared one evening at a friend's barbecue. My old college buddy Marissa, who also happens to be a lawyer, pulled me aside. She spoke in a low, firm voice only women who've seen disasters unfold can muster. Alara, tell me you're drafting a prenup. I laughed it off. Why Brandon's not after my money? Marisa gave me a look that silenced me. You own a business. This isn't about love. It's about protection. Bring it up. If he's reasonable, nothing changes. If he isn't, well, better to know now. That night I lay awake staring at the ceiling fan. Was I insulting him if I asked, or insulting myself if I didn't? I finally brought it up the next evening while Brandon scrolled through centerpiece photos on his tablet. Hey, Marissa mentioned something today. She thinks we should do a prenup, just basic stuff to protect my business. It's standard for owners. The room temperature dropped. He set the tablet down slowly, eyes narrowing. A prenup. His voice was sharp, as if I'd said betrayal, not paperwork. Nothing crazy, I explained. It's just if anything ever happened, I'd need to protect the firm. That's all. He shot up from the couch. So you think I'm a gold digger? That's not what I said. If you trusted me, you wouldn't need this. A prenup means you're planning for us to fail. I do trust you, Brandon. This isn't about trust. It's about being responsible. His lips curled. I'll sign a prenup when hell freezes over. I swallowed hard. He stormed out, slamming the door so hard the windows rattled. The next day, his mother called me. Her voice dripped with righteous fury. How dare you humiliate my son with this prenup nonsense? He's giving you the best years of his life. He's 28, I replied tightly, not 80. A real woman, she hissed, doesn't need contracts with her husband. I hung up before I said something I couldn't take back. But inside, something small and steady clicked into place. That night, Brandon returned, pretending nothing had happened. He waved centerpiece options in front of me, again, chattering about roses versus lilies as if our future hadn't cracked in half 24 hours earlier. But as I smiled politely, I already knew nothing was the same. Brandon acted like our argument never happened. He sat at the dining table, scrolling through Pinterest boards of linen napkins and floral arches. Alara, what do you think, roses or peonies? I didn't answer right away. His voice had a forced brightness, like he was trying to paste over a crack in a wall that was already splitting. Finally, I said, we need to settle the prenup first. He froze, then smirked. There's nothing to settle. I'm not signing one. Now, roses or peonies? My throat tightened. Was this who he really was? I leaned back in my chair, arms crossed. Brandon, I'm serious. No prenup, no wedding. He shrugged casually. Fine, then drop it or there won't be a wedding. The words hit like a slap, but I didn't let him see it. Instead, I smiled soft and easy. Peonies, then. His face lit up, certain he'd won. He launched into napkin folds, chair sashes, and signature cocktails, while my mind drifted far, far away. That night I lay beside him in bed, staring at the ceiling again. He snored lightly, unaware of the storm gathering behind my eyes. He thought he was in control. He thought I'd bend. He had no idea what I was capable of. The next morning I put my plan in motion. First, call the venue. I explained calmly that irreconcilable differences had emerged. They were surprisingly understanding. Happens more often than you think, the manager said. Refund 60%. Second, the caterer. Half back. Third, the photographer. He'd already booked another event at a higher rate, so miracle of miracles, full refund. Piece by piece, I dismantled the fantasy Brandon was living in. The florist, the band, the videographer. Each one quietly canceled money trickling back into my account. By the end of the week, I'd recovered nearly $40,000. I told no one except Nadia, my best friend. She was the kind of person who never sugarcoated. Alara, you're either a genius or you've lost your mind. Maybe both, I said, though my voice wavered. She leaned closer over her latte. What's your endgame? I looked out the cafe window, watching strangers laugh on the sidewalk. He told me himself, no prenup, no wedding. I'm just respecting his wishes. Nadia's eyes widened. Then she let out a low whistle. Oh, honey, he's going to lose his mind. Meanwhile, Brandon kept playing Groomzilla, blissfully unaware. He created a wedding Instagram page, posting daily updates. One caption made my stomach knot. Can't wait to marry my partner. Provider, not partner. The slip revealed everything I needed to know. From then on, every smiling photo, every countdown to forever story felt like a lie. I stopped giving opinions about menus and playlists. When he noticed, he tried to prod me. You haven't asked about the food tasting, he said one night. You said you had it handled, I replied flatly. But you usually have opinions. You usually ignore them, I said, forcing a sweet smile. So I figured I'd save us both the trouble. He squinted at me, suspicion flickering across his face, but let it go. I went to bed with his arm draped over me, heart pounding. He thought he was winning. But the truth was simple. The wedding was already dead. He just hadn't found the body yet. It happened on a Thursday afternoon, and I swear I'll never forget the sound of it, the way his voice cracked, the way the silence afterward rang louder than the shouting. Brandon's maid of honor, Scarlett, had come over. They were hunched together at the dining table, wedding checklist spread out like battle plans. I stayed in my office pretending to work, though every sound traveled through the thin walls. Let's call the venue, Scarlett suggested. We still need to finalize the menu options. I froze mid-typing. My hands hovered over the keyboard. Brandon dialed, cheerful humming to himself. Hi, this is Brandon Voss. Well, soon to be. We're finalizing for June, and a pause. Then his voice rose. What do you mean? Canceled. Scarlett frowned. Canceled. That's impossible. The voice on the other end spoke clearly enough for me to catch the words drifting through the door. Mr. Voss called personally 3 weeks ago. We processed the partial refund already. My pen rolled off the desk. What? No, put it back. Rebook it, Brandon snapped. I'm sorry, sir, the manager said. That date has been rebooked. We have availability next year. Click. The shriek that followed could have registered on seismographs. Scarlett's chair scraped back. Alara Brandon stormed into my office, his face blotched red. What did you do? I swiveled in my chair, slowly, deliberately calm. I canceled the wedding. His jaw dropped. You can't do that. The wedding is in 4 months. Correction, I said softly, was in 4 months. You canceled my wedding. Our wedding, I corrected, which you said wouldn't happen without a prenup. I simply respected your conditions. I didn't mean literally. His fists clenched at his sides, trembling. Then what did you mean, Brandon? That I should shut up and pay for everything while you refused a basic legal protection? His lips moved soundlessly. Scarlett shifted awkwardly in the doorway, but didn't step in. Brandon's voice cracked into a high pitch. You ruined everything, the photographer. Canceled, I said. The band? Gone. The flowers? Refunded. He grabbed the edge of my desk, knuckles white. My tuxedo. I almost laughed. Still yours. Your mother paid for that one, remember? His eyes filled, but not with sadness, with rage. You can't just cancel someone's dream wedding. I can cancel an $85,000 event I'm paying for, yes. His face twisted and he began pacing. This is blackmail. This is your manipulating me. No, I said. These are consequences. You said no prenup, no wedding. I listened. He let out a strangled cry, shoving papers off my desk. Scarlett tried to touch his arm, but he jerked away. You think you've won. His voice cracked again. You think people will take your side when they find out what you did. I leaned forward, folding my hands calmly. Brandon, people will find out the truth, and that terrifies you more than losing me. For a second, I thought he might throw something. His chest heaved, his eyes glistened. But instead, he stormed past Scarlett and out the front door, the slam rattling the glass. Scarlett lingered, looking at me with something almost like pity. She whispered, You've just made an enemy for life. Then she left too. The house fell silent, except for my own heartbeat thudding in my ears. I closed my eyes, inhaled, and whispered into the emptiness. So be it. Brandon didn't come home that night. By morning, word had already reached his parents. His mother, Deirdre, called before I'd even poured coffee. Her voice was sharp enough to cut glass. You humiliated my son. How could you destroy his future like this? I didn't destroy anything, I said flatly. He refused a prenup. That was his choice. A prenup is insulting, she snapped. He loves you, and you repay him with contracts and ultimatums. Shameful. Then you can pay for the wedding yourself, I replied and hung up. That was the beginning of the siege. By noon, Brandon's cousins, old friends, and even strangers I'd never met were filling my DMs. How could you do this to him? He loved you, and you broke his heart. Financial abuse is still abuse. One even wrote small-minded, small-hearted, small everything. I didn't reply to a single one. But Brandon wasn't done. 2 days later, his new project appeared online, a GoFundMe page titled, "Help Me Save My Dream Wedding After Financial Abuse." The description was pure fiction. According to Brandon, I had blindsided him just weeks before the big day, suddenly demanding a prenup and then cruelly canceling everything without warning. He painted himself as a man betrayed, devastated, and traumatized. The goal, $50,000. In 3 days, he raised $1,247, most of it from his mother and aunt. But the internet isn't kind to liars for long. The comments turned brutal fast. Maybe just sign the prenup. Why should we pay for your wedding? Sounds like you wanted her money, bro. Team Alara. Someone even posted screenshots of Brandon's earlier Instagram captions, like the one where he called me his provider. The hypocrisy burned him alive in the comments section. By day 4, the page vanished. Deleted. Dirty little digital secret swept under the rug. I watched all of this unfold in silence. Sitting at my desk, scrolling through threads, my reflection ghosting across the phone screen. My face betrayed nothing. But inside, a storm brewed. Every lie he spread, every message his family hurled at me, only sharpened the truth. Brandon wasn't mourning me. He was mourning the loss of access to my accounts, my security, my name. And the world was beginning to see it too. Still, I knew him well enough to understand he wouldn't give up here. The next strike was coming, and I was ready for it. 3 nights after the GoFundMe debacle, Brandon showed up at my door with his parents in tow. His jaw was tight, his mother hovering behind him like a shadow. "Alara," he said stiffly, "we need to talk." I folded my arms and leaned against the doorway. About what? The prenup, he admitted. His mother touched his arm as if guiding him through a performance. "Fine," I said, "talk." He straightened, as if rehearsed. "I'll consider signing, but only with conditions." I raised an eyebrow. "I'm listening." "1," he said, holding up a finger. "The prenup expires after 5 years." "No," I answered immediately. "You didn't let me finish," he snapped. 2, if we divorce, I get the house." I almost laughed. "The house I bought before I even met you? Absolutely not." His mother stepped forward. "Be reasonable, Alara. A wife deserves security." I ignored her and looked Brandon dead in the eye. "Next condition." He hesitated, then blurted, 3. You give me a monthly allowance. 10,000. I blinked. Allowance. Are you applying to be my husband or my child? His face reddened. I have standards. And I have boundaries, I replied coolly. Original prenup. No add-ons. Or no wedding. His mother's tone turned syrupy. Think carefully, dear. You don't want to end up alone at 31. I smiled, slow and deliberate. I'd rather be alone than married to a parasite. The color drained from Brandon's face, replaced by fury. He slammed his fist against the doorframe. Then I'm not signing. You'll regret this, Alara. No man will want a woman like you. Maybe I said calmly, but at least I'll still have my business, my house, and my self-respect. His father, who had been silent until now, muttered something low and threatening. I know people who could handle this. I tilted my head, almost amused. Terry, you sell insurance. Sit down. Brandon's hands trembled, his eyes glossy with rage. This isn't over, he spat, then stormed down the steps, his parents trailing behind. The slam of their car doors echoed down the quiet street. I stood there a long moment, breathing in the night air. For the first time in weeks, I wasn't scared, I wasn't cornered, I was done. But I also knew him too well. Brandon's ego wouldn't let this be the end. He would come at me again, louder, dirtier, desperate, and the next battle would be public. It started with a tag. My phone buzzed relentlessly one Friday morning. Brandon had posted a long Instagram caption, his face artfully lit eyes, red as if he'd been crying, the kind of performance shot he lived for. The words below were venom, dressed in silk. I thought love was about trust. Instead, I was controlled, manipulated, and abandoned. Imagine being told your worth is nothing without a contract. Imagine planning your future only to have it destroyed by financial abuse. I gave her everything, and she gave me paperwork. He tagged me, publicly, for 40,000 people to see. I sat at my desk, the phone vibrating in my hand. For a moment, my chest tightened, because I knew how quickly narratives can turn, how easily strangers believe the loudest voice. But fear passed, replaced by clarity. If he wanted a war, I had an arsenal. That afternoon, I posted a single photo, a screenshot of his text, "I'll sign a prenup when hell freezes over." Caption, his words, not mine. Next slide, his Instagram caption calling me his provider. Caption, interesting choice of words for a financially abused man. Final slide, the GoFundMe description he'd written, claiming our engagement had been weeks, not months, side by side with the timestamp of our proposal post 1 year earlier. Caption: facts over fiction. I didn't need to add anything else. The internet did the rest. Comments flooded in within minutes. Bro, you played yourself. Sign the prenup and shut up. Imagine fumbling a whole businesswoman because you wanted an allowance. Embarrassing. His carefully curated image shattered like glass. By nightfall, he'd locked his profile, deleting posts in desperation. But screenshots live forever and the damage was done. I closed my laptop, the glow fading across my face. In the reflection of the dark screen, I almost didn't recognize myself. Calm, unflinching, stronger than the woman who once smiled through his centerpiece arguments. While he spiraled in his parents' house, curled in the same childhood bed he once bragged about outgrowing, I sat in my own office, signing refund checks, rebuilding my plans. The war he started to destroy me had ended up unmasking him instead. And though he didn't know it yet, this was only the beginning of his downfall. Brandon never recovered, not from the cancellations, not from the public humiliation, and certainly not from the receipts. He tried, of course, he always did. First came the late-night texts dripping with desperation. We can still fix this. I'll sign whatever you want. Don't throw away what we had. Then came the bitterness. You'll die alone with your precious business. I hope your prenup keeps you warm at night. I didn't answer. Silence, I realized, was the sharpest knife. Eventually, his messages stopped. Word trickled through mutual acquaintances he was dating again. A crypto bro, someone said. A man with leased cars and promises of quick riches. They looked good together on Instagram, two people living in illusions. Meanwhile, I quietly rebuilt. The money I saved from canceled deposits went into a new project. Something for me, not for appearances. A sleek home theater I'd dreamed about for years. The first night I sat there, lights dimmed, screen glowing. I felt a kind of peace I hadn't touched in months. Then months later, something unexpected. I met someone new, Liam, a financial analyst. Sharp, funny, unpretentious. On our third date over sushi, he said it casually. I don't know if this is too forward, but when I get married, I'd want a prenup. Just smart planning, right? For a second, I just stared at him. Then I laughed, a real unforced laugh I hadn't felt in so long. Yes, I said, smart planning. It wasn't about the paper. It was about the principle. About finally being with someone who understood that love and protection weren't enemies, they were allies. As for Brandon, last I checked, his social media was private, his follower count shrinking. His GoFundMe. The second one raised a grand total of $37. His mother still sends me the occasional venomous email from burner accounts, rants about how I ruined her son's life. I forward them to my lawyer. I don't even flinch anymore. Because here's what I've learned. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Protecting what you've built is not unromantic, it's survival. And if the person you love loses their mind over a basic prenup, they were never really on your side to begin with. I leaned back in my theater chair, the glow of the screen reflecting in my eyes, and whispered to no one. Always get a prenup. Always. My only regret, not canceling sooner.